Thank you for listening to Filling in the Gaps. Be sure to check us out on our social media pages, Twitter, Reddit, YouTube. Join the discussion on our Discord. Enjoy the episode.
Ooh, welcome to an extra spooky episode of Filling in the Gaps. My name is Rich, and I'm joined by the extra spooky Cameron from the biggest and baddest state of Texas. If you guys are new, this is our Halloween episode of Filling in the Gaps. And Filling in the Gaps, what it actually is over the next 45 minutes. Myself and Cam will be rolling 2d20s and just brainstorming for 45 minutes on a random theme and scenario that could hopefully spark an idea for your next game night. Cam, yes. We have an extra spooky giveaway to do today. We already figured out our winners, but do you want to do the honor of announcing who they are?
I will. We will be announcing our winners of the first ever dice giveaway by... sponsored by Libris Arcana. And yes. So we will be telling these names out on the social media platforms as well, but I just wanted to say them here. So if you're listening, you can get excited in your car or in your headphones.
Yeah.
Or in a funeral. Spooky.
Maybe
That's
spooky.
not spooky. That's just rude. That's just rude.
Scary.
Yeah.
And socially abnormal.
Completely unacceptable. And your family will hate you. But continue listening. Anyways, we're going to go with, we're going to go with the rolls. We actually set a dice roll to each of our likes and everything like that. And we have two winners. Our first winner, the winner of our blue and gold set, is going to be Jason Whitman 12345 at Twitter. Yay, Twitter. And our second winner, the winner of the slimy green and purple dice. These are both dice. These are seven, they're 7 dice with their full sets. They've got the whole shebang that you would need.
Only the fullest sets for our fans. Only the fullest.
Yeah. The kiss sounds really scare me, but I like it.
It's spooky. Spooky kisses.
Big Ben 220 Instagram user. Congrats on your sets of dice, guys. I will be reaching out on Twitter and
I'll reach out on Instagram.
Cool. And we'll
get you guys. We'll get you guys your dice.
Yeah, just make sure to send us a message, a direct message, so we'll follow each other and make sure that you are locked and loaded so that you know exactly where we need to send these things. Thank you so much, guys, for
finding
entering.
your address.
Yes.
The extra spooky session, guys.
Yeah, that's super spooky. In addition to that, in addition to this episode, we are planning on doing giveaways in the future as well. So stay tuned to that kind of stuff and stay locked in to our social media websites because these are always a lot of fun. We had a good time with this one.
Yep.
You know what else we had a lot of fun with?
What? What's that, Cam?
How about a extra spooky? Ooh. Shall we roll? Man, I made people's ears bleed on that one.
You did, but you know what? Extra spooky clipping. I'm 100% ready to roll. So for those of you guys who do not know what we're doing, if this is your first time here, first off, sorry for all of this weirdness. But what we're about to do is today I am rolling for our scenarios. Cam is rolling for our themes, correct? Or am I backwards?
Nope, you're right.
Cool. And because this is Halloween, we've got some extra spooky Halloween-themed themes and scenarios. We have no idea what our roles are going to be. A D20 will decide really what we brainstorm for the next 45 minutes. So, Cam, are you ready to roll?
I'm ready to roll.
Let's do it. A nice, even, crisp 10.
And I also have a crisp 15 as well. What are our rolls brought to us by this week?
You know what? While you figure out what these numbers are, I'll let everybody know, our sweet, sweet, spooky listeners, what these dice rolls are brought to us by. Now, if you guys have not heard, the giveaway we were just able to do is brought to us by the one and only Libris Arcana dice. If you guys have not checked them out, we highly recommend it because really they do dice the way we do our episodes, a little randomly. If you guys like dice and you'd like to get a new set of dice sent to you every month, Libris Arcana Dice will send you a random set of dice every month right to your door, or they will send you 3 sets of dice every 3 months, once again right to your door. And if you use our promo code FITG, you'll actually get 25% off your first order. That can save you a lot of moolah, so make sure you check them out. And an unknown service that they actually do as well. Our promo code won't work for this order, but you can actually also get a random like D&D module, anywhere from like the originals all the way up to 5th edition, sent to your house every month as well, which I think is sweet. So make sure you guys check them out. Cam, what are our roles today?
So I'm themes, your scenarios, correct? Just
Correct.
to be clear. So 15 gave us the theme of a farm, like a spooky farm.
Ooh, okay. Pumpkin patch.
Yes.
With corn.
And
Stuff. Cows.
those things. Did you whisper cows at the end?
I did.
Cows and chickens. And,
I'm from Ohio, guys. We see a lot of farms, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, well, all of the people that listen are very esteemed city folk, so they all sit and their ivory towers looking down on us people and our farms.
Yep.
The scenario, a 10, was the devil in disguise. And boy, oh boy, do I have some stuff for this one right here. First and foremost, let's so sentient vegetables definitely comes to mind. But what comes to mind for you? What comes to mind
hold
for
on.
you, though?
Now I'm
What?
thinking sentient vegetables.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so I love the idea of so I think kind of the feel I'm imagining when I think of a farm and the devil in disguise is a very like a Resident Evil feel. Especially I think, was it Resident Evil 5, the one that was also VR, where you're like in this house with all those random people. I'm essentially I'm imagining that you show up to this farm for whatever reason, and while you're there, you end up running into, the classic horror movie spiel where everything seems very normal, everything seems very okay. And the longer you're at this farm, maybe you're just like swinging by. Maybe you make your own session where everyone is like level 0 or level 1 characters, so you're like new. But you're at this farm, and as the night progresses, like things just progressively get worse and worse. Like, the classic, you're eating dinner and then the food becomes gross, or the people who are there just get progressively creepier and creepier as the night goes on. And then it turns out that all of this is because like the devil is in disguise somewhere at this farm. I don't know. What do you think?
I think the devil should own the farm.
Yes.
And so it's like, well, come on in, have yourself a little bit of a seat. Because all I can think about is the devil went down to Georgia.
Yep.
That I'll play it over the background long enough to not hit a copyright strike, which is all I care about. But yeah, I think like invites them in, and they're like, "Hey man, come on in, have yourself a little seat, enjoy our food. We got we just take your boots off, rest for a little while." And then, then you can incorporate some cool things as your players start to investigate, like the weird happenings within the farm. And so we can do some fun stuff with different types of beasts and animals along that way. But I also like the idea of the Resident Evil feel in terms of the progression of like it's naturally making you over time start to think about like, oh, this is not the way this should be right now. And so I love that. Absolutely. I think the devil farm owner makes players come in, sits them down, says, man, rest your weird feet. And then we start working off of that.
Sounds to me.
That?
No,
I like
love
that.
it.
Okay. So why are your players there?
Why are they there? I think it could be as simple as if and I think, who was it I heard mention this? It might be the animated spellbook. If you guys haven't checked him out, watch him. He's got some really just fantastically animated videos that answer some common spell questions. But the animated spellbook has this one episode where he talks about how his party moves from town to town.
And one of the things that they mention is that when they move from town to town, when they get all the players' feedback of like, hey, yeah, we'd like to move to this town or to that town, they have the opportunity for random things to happen or for planned things to happen. They're just kind of offshoots. This could be a moment like that where there's maybe just a dip in your the story, or you're traveling from one place to another, and just one option that comes up is you happen upon this farm. And I think exactly like you said it, your players could just be there just because they were graciously welcomed in by a host. Mm-hmm. And once you step foot past a certain gate or even into the doorway or something like that, or once you make some sort of agreement or deal with the devil, all of a sudden everything changes or everything begins to change. It could be, and making a deal with the devil in this regard could be as simple as the devil saying hey, I'll help you, you can stay here for the night free of charge. All you have to do for me is blank. And it could be as simple as
what I like as well, maybe the farm around the house not being very big at first, so it doesn't seem like it'd be a stretch to get out pretty quickly.
Ooh,
then once they sign the contract, never ending cornfields all around the entirety of the farm or something like that. It's just like a corn maze that just never ends. You know what I mean?
Yes, I love it. Sorry. As you were talking, I'm looking through the Mordecai's Tomb of Foes at all the different demons, trying to figure out if there's or demons or devils, and just trying to figure out if there's one we want to model our friend after.
We want to use here. Maybe I should help you with that. I was like, because at first I was all, you just don't care about me or something like that.
No, I do care. I love that idea of you opening up the front door, and it just you see the land in front of you just stretch out forever wide, and you're like, oh shoot, okay.
I just think it'd be a lot of fun to do it that way, because then your players, and maybe they don't know right off the bat, but then over time they start to recognize that fact. What I would say is that
here's another thing. Uh-huh. If this is truly going to be a Halloween session,
yes,
and if we wanted it to be if the devil's going to be here, I think at some point we could just have a stinking portal to hell open up, and your players are like, well, guess we're opening, or I guess we're closing this portal to hell, because why not? Because your players will be like, what? That's freaking sweet.
In terms of just drawing them into this place.
Exactly. They get there because the devil's in disguise, and it gets them in there, and then they start to have these little traps and very kind of haunted house or haunted farm type feel, and then at the end it's just this whole the house rips apart, and there's this portal to the 9 hells that's opened up, and all this mortal fools, finally you did exactly what I did, and blah, blah, blah. Just classic that kind of stuff.
Mortal. Is that what you do to your players? You go, mortal fools.
It depends, it depends on what the session is.
Instead of it being a giant hole, though, I think a crack that allows the hellish energy to flow through, and then objects that are on the farm are then animated, and that's where we can use the Pumpkin King, which is I'll retweet this, everybody. But there's an actual monster called the Pumpkin King it's a homebrew, and it was wonderfully well done. It was amazing. I legitimately thought that someone had the person that had liked it had made it themselves, but I was wrong. But we could do something like that, and so then you're still leaning into the farm stuff, and also giving the players the feel of okay, this is the devil's last shot at trying to get you to do what he wants you to do, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yes, I love it. Okay, so what if? Do you have Mordecai's Tomb of Foes? Is that the one that you bought?
Yes, I do.
Okay, what if on page 164? Oh, I'm waiting. No. I'm waiting just a sec.
No, you can keep going. I'm just gonna grab that book. I'm good. Ready?
Oh yes, yep.
Sorry.
Okay, so Mordecai's Tomb of Foes. Mm-hmm. On page 164, there is an enemy called an Amnezu. I'm not exactly sure how to say it. It's Amnizu.
Amnezu. Yeah, Amnezu.
Yes. These things are kind of labeled as being the well, it says that these beings lead the infernal legions into battle and command guardians at the gateways to hell's gateways to hell. So these guys are green-skinned, pretty much imagine Jabba the Hutt, but if he was wearing a very elegant purple cloak and he had like wings spreading off his shoulders that were just too small to actually be able to do anything, just very disgusting. He's got like that bat nose that pushes up into his skull. And they look to be more of like a spellcaster build. They are challenge rating 18. But we always, we'll edit stuff. But I like the idea of these guys being, very intelligent tacticians, and also them specifically guarding these gateways to hell. Maybe this farm, out in the middle of nowhere, maybe the very reason this farm was put there is to disguise the fact that this portal is there.
Right. Love it.
Because some of the things that this guy has, his innate spellcasting, he can do Charm Person, he can do Command. So there's how he keeps the people who own this farm from, leaving. He's got Dominate Person, Fireball, Dominate Monster, and Feeble Mind. I'm not sure what Feeble Mind does off the top of my head, but that's got to give him some sort of manipulation tactic. He can also summon demons, I think. Yeah, once a day he can summon.
Yeah, and so that's it, but giving it the flair of the farm, he can summon these demons, but they have just farm, like maybe they're wearing overalls, or maybe they pop out of the ground and they pop up in a pumpkin patch and they're all have pumpkin heads or something.
Dude, can you imagine these demons like you said, like going into like the pumpkin patch or going into like even like the corn maze and like possessing the corn, or even like
Scarecrow.
Yes, Scarecrow. Like even animals, though. I think like cows, cows, pigs, things like that. That could be a ton of fun to do.
Right. That right next to the Amizu is the Hellfire engine, which I would repurpose instantaneously as a combine.
Oh gosh, yes.
You know what I mean? And so like now we've got this really, really hellish farm that as the players explore right up front. It's just this portly old, farm guy, and he's like, "Oh well, I gladly would feed you," or something like that. And then as they're eating, they start to realize that they're eating maybe someone or something that they shouldn't be, or something like that. And now they're trapped on this farm, and they've got to close this portal, which will close. Because
another thing too is it doesn't say that these things don't need to eat. So honestly, you could be welcomed in as simple as. Like the deal could be that you make, with the devil that makes you kind of get trapped here is maybe the devil says like, hey, like you're welcome to stay here for a night, but I just insist that if you do, you join us for dinner. And it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll stay and eat for free. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Like I know my players would probably jump on that. But then as that goes on, obviously the deal for join me for dinner is that they're gonna eat you, silly. So that's like where the deal starts like going south, and maybe even two. I think it could be cool to like split your party up, almost like Clue. Okay, almost like you just give them the whole entire map. Yeah,
there is definitely a sense of Clue in this to me. I was actually gonna say the same thing.
And you give them the whole map, but they're split up. Like as soon as dinner's done. They all like get passed out, or they get like dragged into different rooms, and then you are all in these different rooms. And as you're in these different rooms, you have to get through your individual rooms to get to each other to then get out of the house. This might work especially well with smaller parties of like 3 or 4 people. Right. If you have a larger party of like 5 or 6, maybe instead of splitting everyone up into their own individual room. Have people be in rooms of 2. That way, instead of you going through a round of 6, you're like, okay, you guys, what's happening? You guys, what's happening? But what if, like you said, with the Combine, one of them is just locked in this, this farmhouse with this animated Combine that's like trying to like essentially eat them up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
One of them wakes up in the center of a cornfield that's been all flattened down like an alien cornfield symbol or something like that. What do they call those again?
Yes,
alien signs or crop circles. Yeah, yep. And then they wake up and 3 scarecrows sort of peek through the corn or something like that.
Could you imagine even like a like shadows or. Honestly, I think the Scarecrow. There's a monster in the Monsters Manual that's called
there's
a Scarecrow.
definitely a Scarecrow. There's 100% a Scarecrow. It's actually right next to the shadows that you mentioned, and I actually ran some shadows this week, which would be great for like an old farmhouse because the shadows could be paired with. This is great, by the way, guys. It's just a thing that I did this weekend. Shadows and spiders. Adding like if you're running a low level party, throw some spiders and shadows at them. The shadows and spiders, they work together perfectly. It's kind of incredible, actually. But you could have an old farmhouse. Old farmhouses especially here in Texas, there's black widows and all kinds tarantulas, all kinds of stuff like that all over the place.
Dude, and if you're talking specifically about like fears too, if this is supposed to be, the devil owns this farm, like could you imagine being in a like one of those corn towers? Like a maze tower.
Oh, yeah. It's like quicksand.
Yes, it's like quicksand. And as you're sinking, like fighting just to keep yourself from sinking, you've got you've got this giant spider over you that's constantly like lowering down and like trying to pick people up and wrap them up or hit them with webs. Yeah. And then to have some shadows in there as well would be like nuts. Yeah,
because like you're fighting against sinking into the corn maze. Then you're and I say maze, but I mean M-A-I-Z-E. But then you've got the webbing, and the webbing requires a strength check to get out of. And then you have shadows that their main attack is strength drain, which they roll a 1d4 every time they hit to drain your total strength. And so it's like, this is a nightmarish scenario for these people. And so,
and of course you can do it too, because it is a horror film. That if in a situation they would like drown in this maze, and they're probably like, oh shoot. Like, just like every good horror movie, they just dump somewhere else, right? They just, like, pop up in some different room, like, oh, great, what's going to happen now?
Right. Yeah. Without kidneys in a bathtub full of ice.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
yep.
We've got to...
So, you got to have that one. I mean, come on.
Yeah, actually, if you know your players, have one of them wake up in the bathtub without a kidney. That would be very, very funny.
Come on.
Where's my kidney?
Okay, so I like the idea of this of the corn maze.
And I love the amnesu. I think that's a great thing. I could even see that guy being like wearing overalls, and it wouldn't be a stretch to turn that into like a overweight farmer or something like that.
Oh no, not at all. That's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, so what else? I think you have something else you could have in this room. And this is like a thing for your own party. So if you are the type of DM who is like, or the type of like, if you have players who would take this way too far, then maybe don't do this. But to have a succubus there, as like someone connected to this like farm family, succubuses are they play off like temptation and lust and stuff like that. So always DMs know what makes your parties comfortable. And if anytime you've brought up like a party having like a significant other, if that makes some people's awkward and they're like, I don't really want to do this, don't run a succubus at this farm, please. It'll be incredibly awkward. Yes. But if your party's okay with that, to have that there and to have, I think that would be the room if you're going to isolate someone in a room, to isolate them with this like succubus situation. And also know you don't have to explain everything. You can just say that you're in this room with this incredibly attractive person. And she seems very like interested in you, and she's asking, true. And they're just asking like, hey, why don't you stay? Hey, you should stay here with me. You should never leave. And they're like, dude, this is like seeming pretty sweet. I've kind of had the hots for this person. And then like they just begin to change, and you're like, okay.
Like it's like some strapping on lad with wearing nothing but overalls, and looks like he's always got canola oil rubbed on giant muscly arms. And he's all, hey, I'm going to go pick up all this hay. You should stay and live with me forever. What?
Yep. What? Huh? But then, like, it's very much like The Shining. Like that scene in The Shining. Which is a movie
the
I've
bathtub.
seen, everyone.
I
saw a movie once.
And that's a horror movie. That's an actual, like, Halloween-y type of movie. So
it gave me a spoop. But yeah, I think, so a scene like that could be something you do. Because especially now you have this like crazy person who's like chasing you through the hallways or something like that too. I can't remember what book I read, but I remember reading like a horror book where people were trapped in a house. I just literally masterpiece. So good. But I remember one thing that always kept coming up was this one character who was a part of this family fell in love with this one specific character, and it just was really unnerving and really creepy, and they were always like overly interested, and the person couldn't seem to get away from them. And then once again, hey, DMs, know your players. Some like this might be very uncomfortable if you're running this for certain people, so maybe don't. But to have this player, the succubus, then keep showing up in different parts of the house, just very much like, where are you? Are you here? I know you're in here. I think I can smell you. Like that kind of stuff could be just incredibly creepy.
Yeah, I love that. I'm like I said, I'm going to share this, but what do you think about like, would you have the thing that, so say for example, they find the portal and like, okay, our players make it all together. They find the portal and now it's their job to close it. What type of beast would protect that? Because really, this Pumpkin King is kind of perfect.
Oh yeah, I don't even know what the Pumpkin King is, but it sounds perfect.
Well, here, while we're talking, I can actually send this over to you.
This is Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. This is a
why don't
song
you
I'll
tell
sing, song I'll sing.
Why don't you tell everybody that you've never even heard of that song either?
Hey
or
guys,
you've never seen a
okay,
movie?
I've heard of. Okay, Cam, throw me under the bus in front of all of our listeners. Here's the thing, guys. I don't watch a lot of movies. It's not because like I wasn't allowed to watch it. It's not because I didn't want to watch it. I just don't watch movies. If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna like play games or hang out with someone or like play some video games. So I don't watch a lot of movies. But I was telling Cam earlier that I've definitely told people before that I think Christmas before the night before Christmas Halloween special edition. What's it called? Anyway, that movie, I've definitely told people before in a conversation that movie is one of my favorite movies. Not because I've seen it, but because a lot of my friends have talked about it and said that they loved it and told me what goes on in the movie. So in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I'm close enough to seen it. So
I get the gist.
Gist.
Yeah, it's like if I read the back of a book and then told you one of my faves. Big Bible
okay, when
guy
you
here.
say it,
Love
you say it like that,
Man,
it sounds pretty terrible.
The Bible, that's a hell of a book.
Yeah, seriously.
What part? What's your favorite part? I read the synopsis on the back. I enjoyed it. It was quite nice.
Jesus and love and stuff. I was a big fan.
Did it at the Barnes and Noble last week. Pretty great. Yeah. So if you go on that Discord right there, you can see the link that I sent you. The picture of that guy. Check that out,
dude. Okay, this is pretty dang sick.
Isn't that amazing?
So I usually explain NPCs and creatures. Why don't you go ahead and explain this pumpkin?
So this pumpkin, let
me tell you.
Let me tell you about this pumpkin. It is an amalgamation of multiple pumpkins. It's the vines themselves act as more or less the structural skeleton portion of this pumpkin. It is huge. It's actually referred to as a huge plant. They're pumpkin leaves, like orange slices of pumpkin that are jutting out from one of his hands, acting as massive claws. The gourd from the inside of the pumpkin is spilling out of these openings. It has a giant jack-o'-lantern cut out on top of its head, and beneath that is a crushed jack-o'-lantern with razor-sharp pumpkin claws, and it's glowing like a yellowish orange on the inside. Its joints are made up of pumpkins. And there's like scarecrows that are just stuck into the side of it. It is absolutely a sight to behold.
It's terrifying looking. I love it.
Yeah.
It's challenge rating 13. But once again, we can always edit things.
Yep.
That's the thing. Depending on you and your party, it's got a slam attack. It's got a squash attack, which seems to be.
It is definitely a play on word, actually. Yeah.
Yep. Squash will knock you prone. It has a gourd.
It can gorge you.
Yep, which will do a lot more damage. It has Seed Spit, which is a kind of like a dragon breath essentially. Mm-hmm. Then it has legendary actions, Vine Lash, and Trick or Treat. which is Trick or Treat. It scatters 3 pumpkins, which then polymorph into any kind of creature whose challenge rating is 4 or less. And then Vine Lash allows him to, it looks like, just reading this quickly, grapple a creature. This thing is sweet. Yeah. And I think this is definitely like as this, maybe the portal doesn't even open up in the house at all. Maybe the portal opens up like in a farm, and you kind of like see just all this red light like just splashing through the windows, and you're like, what is happening? And then you look outside and you just see this large like
and like pumpkins are rolling. They're all rolling across in front of the barn itself, and they all like roll and form up into this giant thing.
Yep.
This is and see, then you can still incorporate your Amnesu as well, because he's the spellcaster, so he's on the side or something like that. And I don't know, maybe part of me thinks that maybe this thing is controlled by the Amnesu, if we're going to be making some more customization. Instead of devil summoning, he's creating like animated objects of his farm, and he's using concentration to do so. So the less concentration, the less effective these things are on the farm. But this is a cut and dried scenario for your players. It's very simple, you know.
Well, yeah, it could even be as simple. It could be for the boss fight. I was going to say too. I mean, he's got these devils he can summon: 2d4 bearded devils or 1d4 barbed devils. Which I can't remember off the top of my head, but neither of those are creatures that you scoff at. Maybe the lowest one is like a challenging 4. I think that barbed devils might even be higher than that. So you could kind of have a moment where you're fighting these multiple demons that are nothing to scoff at as you're fighting this Amnesu who's trying to open this portal. And then, you know, the boss fight shifts. It has that pre-fight shift where maybe after 1 or 2 of these Amnesus get like defeated, after one or 2 of these devils get defeated, the Amnesu casts some kind of spell, and then like he could even cast Feeble Mind or something like that. And in the confusion, he then takes all of these devils and morphs them together into this pumpkin thing.
Love it.
And that could be a way too of like mid boss fight, like it shifting and everyone now going from fighting individual bearded devils to now fighting one huge monstrous creature, as you're also trying to keep this Amnesu from opening this portal. So there could just be a lot of things going on. It could feel very high stakes and very chaotic. I think too, I'm wondering, I know originally you'd said, what if we have the portal be like vertical instead of horizontal? But what if it was horizontal, and what if the portal was opening under you, and what if every round like different pieces of ground fell away into this hellish abyss that was just opening under you?
Bro, I love it. Yeah, I think that's amazing.
And you could even use that against the pumpkin too. That could be sweet to kind of
maybe run across a natural land bridge that you know. And we're speaking from like if we were players, but I think this is a great way to think about things, as that when you're creating stuff for DMs is because like it's like, how would I think about it if I was a player? Like how would I approach trying to mess this up? And if it's doing stuff that's cool, it's pretty awesome. By the way, I'm pretty positive this Pumpkin King has a mullet of pumpkin roots. Yeah, if you look back at the back of it, it looks like a pretty sweet mullet.
Oh, I see it. Yep.
Yeah. Party in the back, Mr.
Party
Pumpkin
in the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so I'm imagining even if like, maybe if you think of this boss fight as 3 parts. First part is the bearded or barbed devils. Second part is the pumpkin. Then you, maybe with a perception check or something, you note out like, hey, it looks like some of these spots of ground can be knocked off. So then your player's like, oh, cool, we could maybe knock this pumpkin into this hellish like abyss. And then they do. They're then fighting just the Amnesu for a while. And when things seem like, when the Amnesu then gets to like close to half health, all of a sudden, here comes the pumpkin back from the hellish abyss, now like on fire, like dripping magma, very just like melted and molten, and it's like, oh crap, it's back.
And the music is playing in my head, and I want to play this.
don't know why
I don't know why. I for some reason, right when you started singing that, all I could think about was the Phantom Menace. Terrible movie, but phenomenal score during
The
the Star Wars.
Phantom Menace.
Yeah. And then I think it's because the Pumpkin King has a little bit of a General Grievous feel to him, but
That's what it is.
yeah,
Yep.
that's what it is. You know, because he's carrying all these cool lightsabers. See, everybody's basing this off of what we're saying, so I can say anything about. Do you notice that he's got a shotgun across his back as well?
Yeah,
it's so cool.
My favorite thing was how he's an avid My Little Ponies fan. Like that T-shirt he's wearing, just fantastic. He
It's a
kind of
really
looks
cool
adorable
t-shirt.
in the right light.
Yeah. There's in that second actual 3D rendering that was sent to us directly by this artist. I really love that. I know. Did you get your miniature in too?
Oh, I did.
17-foot.
I totally did. And it was really
Yeah.
cool how they actually carved our faces into the pumpkins. It was man, just such a little touch. It's
And
the
they were
little
like,
touches.
"Thanks so much, filling in the gaps. You guys are quite possibly the greatest D&D podcast ever."
And we were
created.
like, we know.
"We
know.
get it."
But okay,
You're
so
way
I think
too much.
I think that boss fight sounds pretty cool. So I really like this episode. I think it's been going like it's got a bunch of good little like nuggets in it, and I like the word nuggets now, so I'm gonna keep saying that. So just to recap so far, we've got the combine in the barn, we've got the boss fight in the pumpkin patch, we've got the corn maze where you could potentially have like scarecrows in there. We've got the creepy room and hallway scenario with the succubus. We've got the corn tower, you know, those big things.
Corn tower with the shadows and the spiders.
Yep, exactly. What else? What else in a farm could be a thing? What if you kind of, this could be a cool thing. What if the house kind of separated you guys by, I asked you a question and then I cut in, Cam, please go.
What?
I asked you the question of like,
I thought you were saying what the house was saying, and I was all, okay, the house is talking now.
the house is talking.
Cam, go.
Cameron, get your brainstorming shoes on because the house is talking now. No, you're good, man. So that the house is not talking, but the house has separated you into rooms and doing what? Tell me what was it saying?
I was gonna say, what if for certain players you play off of their players' like biggest, quote unquote sin, like they're the thing that would cause them to fall. Like for instance, if you have that rogue who just like steals everything, what if you find some way of creating an encounter like around that idea? Or maybe if you have like this one warrior who is, completely, he's very gluttonous and he just eats a ton of stuff. What if you have it where like food is actually trying to kill him?
I love
or
that.
someone who's like, I don't know, just these different scenarios. That's where the succubus could play off the player who, is always like very flirtatious and
You're
trying
bored
to
or something.
exactly.
I mean,
and now
not
he's
to-
got this. Now he's got this succubus who's madly in love with them to the point of like, just like saying all the creepy stuff. Which I think speaking of My Hero Academia 3, they do that character really well. Where it's like the creepy character who like has a crush on this main
because
character.
we were talking about I was confused because I was like, wait,
Sorry, we were
have
talking
we been
about
discussing My Hero Academia?
Guys,
And
we were
talked.
talking about it before the stream started.
We did talk about it before the episode. I forgot about that. Yes.
But they have a character who, like, her superpower in the show is if she has someone's blood, she can look like that person. And so, of course, she's just very creepy with that. She's like, oh, I just want to collect some of your blood so I can be just like you. And it's just like, okay, that's a big no. Big no on that one. But having...
Your barbarians all, I think I'm in love.
Yes, seriously. It's like, this girl sounds great to me.
I love that.
But even like to do, I think I did this once for a character he was our rogue. He was really big on killing, and he says in his backstory that he had actually killed like so many members of his house. He was a drow, to get to the point where he was. So at one point, I had him in a fight with this like devil lord. It was actually Vecna, and Vecna was manifesting his fears, which he had to fight at one time everyone he's ever killed, and it was just this constant like barrage of like people saying like, I can't believe you've done this, or like, you killed me to amount to this, or like, I would have lived a life that was way better than the life you were living, as he's fighting like just like kids, teenagers, adults, old people, just like throngs of them. And he was like, that mental image kind of like was just weird. So to do that with like a barbarian where everyone he's ever killed, Like, and even like going back over sessions and being like, did he kill that? Did he kill that? Did he kill that? Could be a really cool session too. But what do you think?
What about? I like to use old horror movie stuff, and you talked about The Shining. So the hallway filled with blood that as it's like spilling down the hallway and drowning your player, and then all of a sudden it's completely dry and there's nothing happening. Or the room that it's like a never ending room. So like every time you open the door, you just see yourself opening the door in the room next to you. You could do an outhouse.
Dude,
have a
what if
giant
you
poop monster?
Yes. Okay. I am the great mighty Pooh.
Mighty Pooh, and I am here to... Yeah, I know exactly
So
what you're
good.
talking about.
So good. But what if like, okay, so I'm imagining like, what if you open this door and as you open the door, you see you on the other side of the room and you turn around, and as you turn around to look at you, like the other you smiles and shuts the door, and then you turn around and that door is also closed, and now you're like trapped in this room, and you're like, how the heck did that even happen?
That guy's a jerk.
I'm a real jerk.
I don't like him.
That's a good thing too, is the throw. If you're doing a haunted house, not everything has to be combats. Like you can have like trap scenarios, even like to put your players in a scenario like you said with the blood hallway. Like you're gonna have some players who are like, I try to smash this wall, or I try to grab onto the is there a lamp? I'm gonna try to grab onto the ceiling, or the wizard who says I cast this. And letting them deal with those scenarios helps them feel like they've overcome a trap. Or if not, it's just a trap and it's spooky. I want to get out of here. I don't like it.
I like changelings as well. Maybe you think your players run into... We're essentially just creating... I don't know if we have so much of a like a strong structural piece today. But what we do have is a lot of set pieces that could make for a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But what if you had the changelings and your players think that they meet up with one another, and you lead them to both believe that they are, but they're maybe like telepathic changelings, so they can see what their other one's seeing or something like that. It's like the twins, like the twin girls from The Shining.
The twins. Let's just make The Shining.
It's The Shining. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Here's Pumpkin King.
Pumpkin King.
But it's instead of smashing through a door, it's like the entire barn's roof is smashed in by the Pumpkin King's face. But it is Jack Nicklaus's face. Is it Jack Nicholas? It's Jack Nicholson. So. Jack Nicholas is the golfer. Nicholson.
Nope, it's Nicholson. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. Well, yeah, that. But then also Jack Nicholas, the golfer, is there too as another Pumpkin King.
So what about animals? We're at a farm. What about animals?
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Golfing
pigs.
on the farm. I love it.
What'd you say?
I just said golfing on the farm. I love it. It took a while to sink in.
No, yeah, you just completely ignored it, and I loved it. I was like, you know what? It wasn't worthy of a laugh, and I'm appreciative of that.
And then I came back to it, and you're like, no.
No, yeah, just know your audience, Cam, because making a golf joke, but I mean, you should be ashamed of yourself because he's one of the greatest golfers of all time. Except I didn't even know his name, so what the hell am I talking about? So here's what comes to mind: rapid fire. Pigs. Okay. You get through their slop, and their slop is like a gelatinous cube that's trying to disintegrate your body.
Boom.
Horses. It's a bunch of nightmares, and they're all stampeding. Boom. Chickens shoot out eggs. Eggs are little time bombs, like magma bombs of fire or something like that. They're demonic chickens. Boom. And there's a big rooster, and the rooster is huge and so strong and buff, and he's a demonic
He's got human
rooster.
Arms.
He has human arms, and he walks on those, and his little chicken feet just sway in the air. Boom.
I want that now so bad. You don't even
I'm
understand.
definitely making a rooster chicken with man arms. So, like barbarian arms too. I'm talking beefy. So we got horses, pigs, cows, sheep. They suffocate their enemies with the excessive amounts of wool that fly off of their bodies. Entrapment.
Like that.
Bad. It's really bad.
Oh gosh. I love it. I can't get enough. Keep going. What else is there?
Give me another farm
Cows.
animal. Cows. They are actually good, and they give you some good old fashioned moo milk, and you heal yourself. It's like health potions.
Oh, I like that.
Cows are good.
Not even
Yeah,
not even
we
the
know
devils
all
want to
cows
mess
are
with
good.
cows. Even they are
Yeah.
like
Except
animals
it's
like
actually
this.
blood because they're bad cows, demon cows.
No,
Bang.
Cam, not the cows. Who can we trust?
Australian Shepherd. It's on the farm. It's also a dog breed. The only dog breed in all of D&D. It's cool. It's a dog. Nobody wants to hurt the dog.
That's true. That's true. They
Boom.
are just boom, man's best friend.
Boom, man's best friend. You gained
also-
man's best friend trait. That's all.
So first
else?
off, loved all of those. Loved them a lot. 100% should do. All in the same barn, different sheds, opening up, and it's mayhem. Because I don't think any one of those things necessarily like kills the party, but all those things happening at once is mayhem.
Yes.
Which is partially horror movies. Horror movies have those moments where you're like, what is even happening? There's so much.
Right.
So another thing I found is I was flipping through Mordecai's Tomb of Foes. If you guys don't have that, don't worry. You can probably just find these online. But there's something called the Sorrow Sworn. These are monstrosities. They live in the Shadowfell, so they're technically in the Feywild. But you can go ahead and make these a part of your session if you wanted to. I mean, because you're the DM and you can do what you want as long as you think your players will have fun and enjoy it. But these creatures are kind of strong. They're tough. They're challenge rating 13. The lowest is like 7, except for ones that are like a quarter challenge rating. But I think you're supposed to throw a ton of them. But the names of them are the Angry, the Hungry, the Lonely, the Lost, and the Wretched. And they all kind of have different little plays on those emotions. So like the Angry are incredibly, angry. They have 2 heads, and they have like kind of a rage mode. I know,
There's
right?
no way that the angry are actually angry.
But they have disadvantage on attack rolls if no other creature has dealt damage to it. So they're kind of meant to just get in there and fight and fight and fight. They might not be the most interesting, but the Hungry, it says the Hungry has like grasping claws and yawning mouths, and they do whatever is necessary to sate their appetite. And these greedy devourers consume all life and energy they encounter, stuffing their maws with flesh and drinking in their victims' screams.
By the way, our first usage of the word maw on this podcast, Hit Dice would be proud.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wes over there at Hit Dice uses maw pretty much any chance he can get when describing open, wet orifices of things with faces. So
I feel like for a long time I used to use maw in my sessions, and then I started using it too much, and I'm like, okay, I gotta save this word. I gotta keep it fresh.
maw is such an impactful word. I mean, he really
is.
has something going on there. No, it's
Maw.
impressive.
Maw.
Speaking of chicken nuggets, remember how we talked about chicken nuggets earlier?
Yes, I totally do. I love nuggets.
Those little wretched guys, those are pretty much some cute little chicken nuggets, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they really are. And I think, okay, what's their thing? They're horrid little monsters. They gather in large packs to scour for prey. When they find a creature, they surge forward to sink their fangs into the victims and drink deep of their life energy and their fear. So these are just creatures you could use, whether in a farm or anywhere else, to just kind of add some of that extra weirdness.
This is what happens when radiation pours on a 10-pack of McNuggets. That's what happens.
Oh my
right
gosh, dude. If any of you guys out there are wanting to run a Fallout session, like seriously, honestly, just use the Sorrow Sworn, because I think that would be perfect.
there. Yeah, actually, I know this has nothing to do with this episode, but that's a really, really, really good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, actually, now that you mentioned that. That's a... you
Also-
know what I was about to say? I was going to take credit. I was about to say, now that I think about that. Like,
Now that I think about that, it is right. And that was a great idea I had.
hey guys, I have this great idea. If you're running a post-apocalyptic session, I was thinking you should probably run the Sorrow Sworn. They're really, really good. So...
Well, I
And
mean,
I didn't even say
if we're
the name
being
of it.
honest, we can't be too picky. I mean, we are a podcast where we pretty much just kind of take ideas we've seen other people do and say, what would it look like if you did it, but with this twist?
Oh, no, we're completely unoriginal human beings. But
It's true.
who isn't? Who isn't?
That's
the biggest
also
thing you have
true.
to ask yourself.
Come at us, please.
I
Come
will
at us.
fist
We'd
fight
like to be
you.
friends. Oh, I mean, I will fight you.
That's what I do to my friends. I fist fight my friends. So don't worry.
I wasn't sure where we were going there. Friends or foes? I'm ready for either.
It's all love punches in my world. So that's what we do, man. This is.
Well, Cam, I think that honestly sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it does, man. I
As we
don't
were
know
kinda-
where we went.
We were just kind of
but
getting
it
off
does
on a little
sound
bit of a
great.
trail, but you know what?
Okay,
It's-
well then, how about this? We'll do a summarization.
Okay.
Of like the different things that we did, and I'm gonna need your help on that one.
Okay,
And then you
cool.
get to do a synopsis. And I want to say something. First off, I listened back to the synopsis from last week, and it's fun and it's like goofy and everything like that. So
You're
I don't
fun
know
and
if our
goofy and
synopsis
everything
has
like that.
ever provided anybody anything help wise, but I do find that they are pretty fun to listen to.
Oh yeah.
But next time I do a synopsis, I would get more back to what we used to do, where we would describe the scene as opposed to just being characters in it. So, but who knows? I don't know. I guess I'll let it come to me as the time comes. But summarization.
you Cam. You do.
Yeah, you know what? Screw you, old Cam that just said that. Hey, what's up, future Cam?
This is
Oh,
new
yeah, it's me.
Cam.
Yeah, it's me, future Cam. Oh, well, now I'm present Cam. No, I'm past Cam. Oh, no. See what happens with time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got farmhouse, right?
Farmhouse. Your party
and we've
is. What was it? You're either passing by, or invited. You could even be in a town and someone invites you. This could lead back to the whole succubus thing too. But the main thing is the deal is struck, and the deal struck with the main farmer is what kind of allows your party to be captured in this farmhouse. And it's just something along the lines of like, you know, you can stay here for free. You don't have to worry about paying housing. I could even imagine like, you know, your cheap players, if you run your party into a tavern, they're like, hey, sorry, our rooms are full. If you want a room, I'm going to have to like triple charge you because we had somebody else coming in. So they're like, oh man. And then this farmer's like, well, I'll be happy to have you all come on up to the farmhouse. You seem like a very
You
interesting
seem like
lot.
real tasty. I mean, nice people.
Really nice, tasty people. Tasty because of your stories. They just are tasty for my ears. Come
You
tell me
are
some stories.
tasty. I want to eat you. I'm sorry. My name's Chuck. Nice to meet you. I'm a demon.
Yeah. Just something real subtle like that. Gets them right into the farmhouse.
Why don't you come on in with me? I'll take care of you. I'll eat your entire body and spit you into a turtle pit of hellfire. What do you think about that?
It'll be perfect.
Okay.
I'm joking.
Farmhouse
But
has it has the blood hallway. It has
Mm-hmm.
the succubus that's trying to entrap.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the twins that are changelings that make
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you're still seeing your own party, but you're not. It's got the never-ending room, the locked-in
Mm-hmm.
room. What else does it have? I think that's good for that, right?
Oh, yeah. It has the animal pen, if you want to get messy with that. Sorry, I just hit my table. I'm sorry, people. I know that you hear that, and it messes with your enjoyment of the podcast.
Look, when here's what we're trying to do, guys. We have a contract with Dolby 5.1 surround sound, and we are trying to maximize the usage of subwoofers.
Do you hear it? It's on both sides.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to give us a good old-fashioned Dolby 5.1. You know, the before movies. No, you don't know that because you've never seen movies.
Anyway,
There's a silo filled with corn, with the shadows, spiders, and this quick corn.
There's also the maze, the corn maze.
The corn maze.
Which I never realized corn maze
is a thing, yeah.
corn is also maze.
Maze, yeah.
Sorry, guys, my mind's being blown. I've got the combine also, which could be cool just to throw your players in the field as this combine's chasing them, and you can't quite see it. So maybe your players have to rely off of like hearing perception, which could be sweet to know like which direction it's coming from. Trying to think if there's anything else. Is that everything?
Well, you got the
pumpkin.
you got the Pumpkin King. Yeah,
Exactly, at the
Pumpkin.
end. The 3-part boss fight. First, Nizu and his summoned demons. Second part, Pumpkin, as the portal of hell begins to open up like below you. So platforms are falling away and the ground's falling away. You knock the Pumpkin in. Then it's like third part of the boss fight where it's just versus the Nizu. And then after that, the Pumpkin comes back from the ground. Whoa, round 2. And then when you beat him, it's the classic, portal goes bright red. and everything goes like white light, and then you wake up the next day in the local tavern and you're like, that was weird. Or more often, this is D&D, nothing like that happens and you loot everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Or all the magma pours out and catches the cornfields on fire, and the players sit atop a hill eating all the popcorn that happened.
Gosh, it's perfect.
Because it's a horror movie. Because it's spooky Halloween episode, everybody. Hey.
Okay, so I think for the synopsis, I'm going to go ahead and just do the initial introduction, the initial like meal. Or maybe, I think I'm just going to do the initial introduction. Okay, so here we go.
This is the Halloween episode. Do not mess this up.
Oh, gosh.
I swear to you. No pressure.
Oh, gosh.
But I am looking for a new host right now on Twitter. So
gosh. Okay, here we go. So your party is turned away from the local tavern because there's blah, 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 blah. I'm so nervous now. Your party is turned away from the local tavern because there's sadly no room left in this inn. Oh, man, just sad story, bro. As you're turned away, however, as you're walking back through the road, you meet a farmer who's just pulling a wagon with some local produce in it. The farmer is a little bit chubby. He's got a double chin, but just a great smile. And he leans over and says, well, why don't you all hop in, everybody? I heard that the inn was full. You look like good folk. I'll make you a deal. You can stay all you want in my house tonight. The only deal is you have to make sure you eat with me and my family. You pour back in later that night up to his farm, which is beautiful. And as he steps down, 3 people approach the cart. The farmer says, now I'll have to introduce you. My name is Jeff the farmer. And these are my 3 children. Our wife recently passed, and we've been taking care of the farm without her. This is my oldest daughter or son, depending on what you want the succubus to be. Claret or Clarence. And just drop dead stunner. You're like, okay, that's really weird. And immediately she's like winking at one of your party members or he, and you're like, whoa, am I getting like a feel from this farmer? Okay, what's going on? And then he says, and these are my 2 just darling little twins. This is Charles and Cindy, because they're all named C names now, except for Jeff.
No, my name is also spelled with C as well. It's Jeff.
The 3 of you all, or you and the party, they then sit down for dinner that night. And as they're sitting down for dinner, and you're just talking, and things are getting amply weird. The oldest daughter and or son is like playing footsies with the one party member who's like still kind of into it, but still at this point like I'm not sure. And then all of a sudden, the meal itself, as the hour clock on the wall begins to strike, which DMs, what could be sweet is if you actually have that chiming like dong, dong, and as it's going on, and as it's going from 1 beat all the way up to 9, everything begins to change with every beat on the clock, with every dong that the bell strikes. The food begins to look different. The faces on these people in the rooms begin to change. Even the farmhouse itself seems to decay around you, and all of a sudden you find yourself just bound to your seats, being pulled into different rooms, paralyzed. Something in the food has made you unable to move, and when you wake up later, not knowing where you are, you're separated from your party in separate rooms with crazy shenanigans happening. But that's my extra long synopsis. So I don't know. Maybe it was okay, maybe it wasn't, but I think Clarence and or Cindy really made it for me.
Yeah, Clarence, Cindy, and Clarice or Claire.
That's what it was. It was
it was Kajef,
Clarence / Claretta.
Cindy. Claretta, got it.
Cindy
and Charlie. Yeah,
Charlie, I like Charlie better.
Yeah, Charlie, because he's like, hey, come on, Charlie, get out of the field, and he's like, I'm just killing a rabbit. And you're just like, that's weird. You got to have the kids do like a weird animal killing ritual thing. Mm-hmm. Got to walk in.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, that'd be so weird. And he's just like, well, kids will be kids. They gotta, like, the kids are like killing the chickens that you're going to eat that night. And you're just like, they seem really young to be killing chickens. It's like, well, here on the farm, we always know that, you give life when you take life.
They're drinking the blood, though. He's all,
that's just cow's milk.
Wait, what?
Don't worry about it.
Man. Don't worry about all that cow's milk. I love it, dude.
Okay, so that was our extra spooky little episode. I like it. I dig it. Yeah. Now, Cam, you said that we obviously we did a little dice giveaway earlier today. For anybody who's just being a trooper and sticking through to the end of this episode, where can they find us on social media if they want to give us a theme or scenario idea, or hit us up, or join our Discord where there's always ideas being shared? Where can they find us?
Our Discord, by the way, our Discord is amazing. Set
Just
up by
lit.
Molly a long time ago. It's lit.
It's the best place
it's a
to
lot
be a
of fun.
ghost, guys. I'm a ghost in there all the time, and it's just great. The ideas you get to read, fantastic.
Steal it from everybody. It's pretty awesome. You can find us at Twitter at Fillin in the Gaps, FILLININTHEGAPS. You can find us over there. You can find us at Filling in the Gaps, spelled correctly. At Instagram, you can find us over on our Reddit. We have a Reddit as well. It's 94 members strong and growing, and we have a lot of fun communicating with the different people out there at our D&D, our Dungeons and Dragons, our RPG, so on and so forth for Reddit. Each of our respective social media websites has a way to find the other one. So you could go to our Twitter and then be able to go find us at our Reddit, go find us at our Instagram, at our Discord. But yeah, man, that's the best way to do it. And then one other thing is, if you do want to help out the show, if you want to help out, grow the audience, I think we have something that, like I said, people tune out, but they learn a lot from, and they gain inspiration from. More importantly is you can go and review us on iTunes. It's going to really help our exposure. So if you haven't done that yet, that would be really, really helpful.
Spooky
exposure. You can help us out though. That would be that would just tell your friends. If you have players that are looking to become DMs, and you want to maybe help them find some inspiration, this is a great place to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to be a seasoned DM to understand how to let your players have fun, and I think that those core concepts are passed along through us. So that's the best way I could say for us in terms of finding us and helping us, though.
Boom. Perfect. Well, everybody, thank you once again for joining this extra spooky episode of Filling in the Gaps. I don't know what this accent is, but if you want more accents and ideas just like this, you can tune in next Monday, for a brand new Normie Boy episode. Until then, I hope this session sparked an idea for you to use on your next game night. See you later.